What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. Today I wanted to talk about how I pick which bike to ride, because I have two bikes, this Indian Scout Bobber 20 and a Lowrider S, a Harley Davidson Softail Lowrider S. I actually did get a couple of questions regarding that, more along the lines of like, hey, what do you prefer a little bit more? And it's kind of hard to choose because it's kind of like an apples to oranges kind of question, but I'll do the best that I can here. And today I am on my Indian Scout Bobber 20. So just a little bit of background, I had the 2020 Lowrider S before this Scout Bobber, and it was great. It's a great bike, and I recently just got the Scout Bobber last year. So I've had enough time to figure out like what I like to use the Scout Bobber for and what I like to use the Lowrider S for. And the best analogy that I can use for this is, there are different tools to get different jobs done. Now, of course, each tool can do the same job, but it might be better suited for something else versus the other. That's kind of how I approach this topic. So with the Scout Bobber, it being a smaller bike, naked cruiser at that, if you will, very easy to maneuver around town, in the city, suburb, that kind of stuff. That's primarily what I use the Scout Bobber for. If I'm mobbing around town, and if I'm going on quick rides, I think that's where the Scout Bobber really excels. I don't really like to take this for long trips. I'm good for about 2 hours max on this. So anything around town, I'll take the highway for a little bit here and there, but just kind of mobbing around town, that's what I like to use the Scout Bobber for. With my stage of life, having work, having a job, family, and all of that, and all of those responsibilities, sometimes an hour or 2 hours is all I can get. And so when it comes to that, where, hey, like after work, I can go off for a quick rip, but then I gotta come back for dinner and all this stuff, I'm gonna take out the Scout Bobber. Because it's a ton of fun still around the town. It's quick and easy to get in and out. Can park it anywhere just about, and it's lightweight, it's fun. I still kind of get that quick adrenaline rush. And I'll pull over here somewhere real quick. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't do long trips on the Scout Bobber. I've definitely seen a lot of people do that, but is that something that I want to do? Not exactly. Besides, it only has about 3.5 gallons or so of fuel tank, so approximately about 150 miles of range. But since I don't have any wind protection on the Scout Bobber, I don't really like to take this guy on the highway. When you're on the highway, your body is acting like a big sail. You definitely get beat up on the highway. So this is something that I like to just kind of use. Quick rips around town, having some fun, get out, come back in, nice and simple. And that's what I really love about this bike. It's just so much fun, ripping on the throttle. That's kind of exactly how I pick and choose what bike I'm going to ride that day. If I only have a couple of hours to ride, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to pick my Scout Bobber. But yeah, like I said, it's just a different tool for a different job. And you got to remember that the Scout Bobber is a liquid-cooled motor, right? So what that means is, obviously, it runs a lot cooler than my air-cooled Harley. And so when I'm sitting in traffic like this, this is totally comfortable versus my Harley where, it gets kind of hot, especially in warmer temperatures. It's just not as fun to deal with. So if I know the kind of riding that I'm going to be doing, sometimes I would prefer my Scout Bobber versus the Harley. To talk about this motor a little bit more, it just has a higher RPM range. And so there are days where, kind of want to just wring out the throttle a little bit more, or maybe ride in a different style where it's maybe slightly more aggressive. I don't know. Yeah, but it is a little bit sportier than the Harley, so it depends on what kind of riding I'm kind of in the mood for. And like I mentioned, it is a lot skinnier than my Harley. Skinnier, lighter, less bulky. So if I know that I'm going to be kind of filtering through or, weaving between lanes, this is the kind of bike that I might want to take. So those are the factors that kind of go into, what bike I want to ride, whether or not I want to take the Scout Bobber. A bobber is kind of like a, a bar hopper, right? It's not very comfortable, but it's going to be a head turner for sure, and it's going to be fun from stoplight to stoplight or bar to bar. So let's get on the Harley and talk about my Lowrider S for a little bit, all right? All right, welcome back, guys. So as you can see, I have my Lowrider S out with me today. It is exactly the day after I rode the Scout Bobber. Just look at where I am, guys. This view does not do it justice, but that's exactly the kind of riding I like to do on my Lowrider S. If I have, a little bit more time, like a few hours, I love to take this guy out, take the Lowrider S out, and just kind of ride wherever I want to, just kind of get lost on the roads and really find roads like this, just buried deep in your state, just windy, twisty roads, get lost in the sights. I've been just riding for about an hour and a half. It's been great. The foliage, I don't know if you can see that. Just right over there, there's just some really beautiful foliage. I've been kind of riding out here. Okay, so I had to move, get out of the way. There was a truck behind me. So I pulled over just a little ways down, but I mean, just look at this, guys. This is great. But yeah, coming back to the Lowrider S, it has a 5-gallon tank. I have storage everywhere on my bike. So if I wanted to grab, some food or bring something back, I can definitely store it on my Lowrider S. And the Lowrider S for me is just, it's a bigger bike. It can handle the highway better. And it's just a little bit more of a comfortable bike for me. So that is the kind of riding that I like to do on the Lowrider S. And I got my crash guard so I can, put my feet up if I get a little bit tired. But this is the bike that I'll take out if I have about, anywhere more than 2 hours. This is the bike that I like to take. And as you can see, I have this large ST fairing, block out a lot of the wind, so the highway isn't a problem. Hand guards, I've just had a lot more time with this bike to kind of outfit it to make it more comfortable, make it more convenient for long distance riding. Probably not going to be the same level of comfort as a bagger, but it is what it is. I got these floorboards and, just really nicely set up. So that is the kind of riding that I like to do. Again, like I said, you can do different jobs with the same tool, but I think this bike is a lot better if you're thinking about doing longer trips, longer rides. This is the bike that I'll take out. Whereas the Scout Bobber, if I like to rip around just real quick, that is the bike that I'm going to take. I'm going to bounce out of here. Looks like I have a lot more riding in front of me. Man, this has been just fantastic. I love just going in the middle of nowhere, just finding different roads that I've never been on before. I've actually never been here before. And this is Sam's Creek and Hawks Hill Road. Man, just fantastic. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here, do a little bit more riding. I'm going to enjoy the day with my Lowrider S/ST. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.